Namaste, Javians. Today we'll be studying about acid-base balance, which is a part of the curriculum of BPT second semester, Human Physiology. So let us start with the topic of acid-base balance. See, the acid-base balance is categorized in a way that we'll be studying about water balance and how it is maintained. See, if we consider about water balance, it is a solvent of life and it is the aqueous medium to all the organisms, and water directly participates as a reactant in several metabolic reactions. It also acts as a vehicle for transport of solutes. It helps in regulation of the human body. An adult human body contains almost 60% of water, that is 42 liters. Water is distributed in intracellular and extracellular compartments. Water is supplied to the body by exogenous and endogenous water. Exogenous water is the ingested water, and ingestion of water is mainly controlled by thirst center that is located in hypothalamus. Then is endogenous water, which is the metabolic water produced within the body. And this water is derived from the oxidation of foodstuffs. See, excess water from the body is drained out through urine, skin, lungs, and feces. Next is electrolyte balance. The electrolytes are the compounds which readily dissociate in solution and exist as ions, that is positive and negative charged ion particles. These electrolytes are well distributed in the body fluids in order to maintain osmotic pressure. This electrolyte balance is regulated by kidneys, where aldosterone is a main hormone. It is a mineralocorticoid that is produced by adrenal cortex. The aldosterone increases sodium absorption by renal tubules at the expense of potassium and hydrogen ions. Then is antidiuretic hormone. An increase in the plasma osmolality stimulates hypothalamus to release ADH, and this in turn increases water reabsorption by renal tubules. Next is angiotensin, that one is converted to angiotensin 2, which stimulates the release of aldosterone. So whenever there is depletion of water in the body, that condition is known as dehydration, and it may be due to insufficient intake or excessive water loss, or maybe both. So causes of dehydration can be diarrhea, vomiting, excessive sweating, fluid loss and burns, adrenocortical dysfunction, kidney diseases, and deficiency of ADH. Now we'll start with acid-base balance. See, acid is a substance whose dissociation in water releases hydrogen ions. Addition of an acid to a solution increases concentration of free hydrogen ions in the solution. A base releases hydroxyl ion, that is OH, in aqueous solution and decreases its hydrogen concentration by accepting a binding with free H ion. Then are amphoteric substances like amino acid proteins, which act as both acid and base. Next is maintenance of blood pH. The normal pH of blood is 7.35 to 7.45, this side slightly alkaline. Now this is maintained by blood buffers, respiratory mechanism, renal mechanism. A blood buffer may be defined as a solution of weak acid and its salt with a strong base. The buffer resists the change in the pH by the addition of acid or alkali. The buffer cannot remove H ions. Now, blood contains three types of buffer systems: bicarbonate, phosphate, protein buffer. Next is respiratory mechanism. See, respiratory system provides a rapid mechanism for the maintenance of acid-base balance, and this is achieved by regulating the concentration of carbonic acid in the blood. The rate of respiration is controlled by a respiratory center, which is located in the middle of the brain. Now is the renal mechanism for pH regulation. The pH is regulated with the help of kidneys. The pH of the normal pH of urine is around 6, The kidney is the only route through which the H ions can be eliminated from the body. Now, next topic is disorders of acid-base balance. There are mainly two types: acidosis, when there is decline in blood pH; alkalosis, when there is rise in blood pH. The causes could be diabetes mellitus, lactic acidosis, and renal failure. For respiratory acidosis, the causes could be severe asthma, cardiac arrest. Vomiting, hypokalemia are a part of metabolic alkalosis. Hyperventilation, severe anemia are a part of respiratory alkalosis. Then plasma potassium concentration is also important as it affects contractility of the heart. So hyperkalemia, that is high plasma potassium, or hypokalemia, low plasma potassium, can be life-threatening. So these are the disorders, and if you have any doubts, you can comment in the inbox. And this session is powered by Digital 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Virivan University. Thank you.